we are going to review your math for your test, which is tomorrow. This chapter, there's a lot to it, but once we break it down, your studying shouldn't be too much, okay? And I'll explain it to you. Now, the properties. What were the four properties?
Commutative, associative, distributive, and identity.
Identity, okay? There's four of them. Commutative, associative, distributive, and identity, ID.
Is
Okay.
there a zero? Yeah, zero too.
Huh? Yeah, there was.
I guess.
Zero property. Anything times zero equals
Yeah.
zero times anything?
Yeah.
Zero, okay? The identity property. This one basically is zero. This is the one. One times anything is anything. Anything times one is still anything. In other words, if you have 9 times 1,
9.
it's 9. If you have 1 times 9,
9.
it's still 9, okay? Because of the commutative property, you can flip the numbers around, flip-flop, you can flip the numbers around and it doesn't matter the order. So it doesn't matter the order with the ones or the zeros. The one can be first, it could be the second one, okay? But the commutative property, that's the flip-flop, okay? Associative, that's where you have 3 numbers you're multiplying. You have to multiply 2 of them before you can multiply the third, okay? Your brain just isn't gonna work multiplying all 3 at once. It's not like when you're adding 3 numbers all at once. You can add 3 numbers at once, but you can't multiply 3 numbers at once. So with the associative property, you can multiply those 2 first. Or you can multiply those 2 first. Do what's in the parentheses first, and then do what's outside the parentheses. I know that in iExcel, they had it like that. And when that number is right next to the parentheses, it means that you're timesing it, okay? So in actuality, yes, there is a little time sign in there, okay? They just don't do it, okay? The one that was getting some of you, is the distributive property.
3 times 400. 50 plus 9.
You're breaking this number apart. This is a 5, so you do the 50. This is the 9 ones, so you do the 9. Now you're going to distribute it out. 3 times the 50.
3 times 50 plus 3 times 9. 3 times equals 150.
150 plus 27.
Equals 160. 177.
Okay? And that's your distributive. What you're doing is you're distributing the 3 out to the 50 and out to the 9. Okay? And that's where it's being distributed, where it's being taken out. Okay, to that. Any questions on that? Are we good with the properties?
Yeah.
Okay?
Wait, just too many.
I have a question.
Yes,
So sometimes it has the community property and the associative property. Like it has 6 times blank and they're both in parentheses, and then it says like they look the same.
Yeah, I said too.
oh, they can be both.
Wait, what can?
No. What you're looking at is where you'd have 6 times, give me some numbers.
27. 27.
5,
Plus 4. 5.
wait, Cece.
They'll have it in parentheses, but then it'll say equal to, and then you're supposed to flip flop them, but I sometimes think it's associative because it has the parentheses.
Does it have multiplication all the way through?
Yes.
Okay, then that is associative.
Distributed.
Distributed is gonna have a plus sign
No.
or a minus sign.
I'm sorry. Associative and commutative.
If you have 3 numbers, it's gonna be associative,
Okay. We have 2 numbers.
okay?
and a flip
If you have 2 numbers, it's flip flop,
flop.
okay?
Could you do distributed property with like 3 times 6? Or would it only be with like a 2-digit?
No, you're looking, I understand what you're saying. Would it be 3 times or 6 times
3?
3?
Could you do?
No, you're not gonna break it into 2 and 1,
Okay.
okay? This is gonna be a 2-digit number,
Okay.
okay? It'll be 74. Okay, and you, after a while, you can start doing this in your head. Cause 6 times 4 is what?
24.
And 6 times 7,
42.
420. And then you have 420 and 24,
444.
Wait, what was it? The other?
420 and 24,
Yeah.
444.
444. Okay? What you're doing is you're multiplying the 7 times the 1s and the 7 times the 10s. You're breaking it down to where you can figure it out. Okay? Good questions. Ryan,
When you do the estimating like it did on like 3-.
we're gonna get to it.
Oh.
We'll get to it. Okay? Next was patterns. This was 1 time or 10 times 438. Okay? Equals what?
4,380.
438 with a
Zero.
0.
4,300.
438 with 2 zeros. Okay? Equals 438 with 1, 2, 3 zeros. Okay? Patterns. All that you're looking at is counting the zeros. Most of these were 100s, but when we got down here to the zeros and the multiplier, you ended up with like 900 times something. Hi. Okay. Finished? You finished too? Okay. Now, what they're doing is they're looking at the zeros in there. And you're adding those zeros in. This, when you have a 1, this goes back to the identity property. 1 times 438, and then you add the 0 in. Okay? The patterns were there in showing how many zeros you put on. And that's what the patterns one was. Okay? That was it. Any questions on that? So far the test's pretty easy, isn't it? If you sit and think about it, yeah, so far it is. Okay? The thing is, and I'm gonna tell you this, you gotta read the directions for each one and just understand what it's talking about. Next was the estimate. This was estimating using the front end digit, okay?
Oh, front
In other words, the greatest, what do they call it, the greatest, place, okay? So if you had, what are the greatest places?
The 7,
Luke?
the 70 and the 5,000. So the tens and the thousands.
70's right.
Like
Are
5,000?
we supposed to round it?
Yeah,
6,000.
so it'd be 6,000.
Oh, rounding.
You're rounding that. You're rounding it to the greatest place. Okay? So here you're rounding this to 70 because it's not a 5 or more behind it. This is 5 or more, so you're rounding this one up to 6,000. Then we go back to patterns.
You add the zeros.
With
6
42, add 4 zeros.
420,000.
6 times 7 is 42.
420,000.
But you got 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros.
420,000.
Okay? Does that make it easy? Let me give you another one. You guys done with this one?
No, I have a question about it.
Okay?
For example, put 382 times 7. Would 7 round to 10?
No, 7 is one digit number, and that's a good
Stays the
question.
same.
You're gonna leave the 7 alone. You don't round it to 10.
So if it's like 11, you'd round it to 10?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but if it's a one digit number, what they're trying to do is get you to a basic fact. Okay? And here, you would round this to 400. So you'd have 400 times 7.
Okay.
4 times 7 is your basic fact. Okay? So then you're at 28 with 1, 2 zeros. Okay?
Okay.
Good question. Anything else? Okay? Now, if you notice, once you estimate, once you get your estimate, then you're basically going back to the patterns because everything will be zeros behind it. Make sure you add in all of the zeros. Okay? Let me give you one more because I'll show you why. Now, 5,279 rounds to
5,000.
5,000 times 831 rounds to
800.
800. Now, 5 times 8
It's 40.
is 40.
Still at the 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even though I have a 0 here, that one does not matter because that's part of my basic fact. I still have to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add those 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add those 5 in. Okay? Because up here I had 6 and 7 and it came to 42. Down here, 8 and 5 goes to 40. And that's my whole point on that. Make sure that you're not counting this 0 as one of these. Okay? Does everyone understand that? Luke, you had a question?
May I use the restroom?
Quickly. Right, moving on. Zeros in the multiplicand. Multiplicand's the top number. Okay?
Oh.
I'll make make an easy problem. 4 times 3 is 12. In this case, I can go ahead really and mark down to 12. Because I know that 4 times 3 is 12, I put the 2 down, carry the 1. 4 times 0, 0, and I have the 1. We had a problem like this in the book, where you had
It's just gonna be 27,
27. If I had 8 there, 24, 24. You see there, now we're back to a pattern that are in there, okay? Make sure that you understand what that 0 is in there. This, if you want to multiply it straight through like you would, this would be 27, carry the 2 up, okay? And it just comes down. All right, yes,
Can I use the bathroom?
quickly. Next, we're multiplying by 2 digits. I'm gonna skip it. You know why? This is why, because down here, you are multiplying by 3 digits. If you can multiply by 3 digits,
You can multiply by 2.
you can multiply by 2. Okay? I'm gonna come back to it. Guess and test. I think there is one question on your test that is a guess and test.
There's no questions I'm gonna do.
Huh?
There are no guess and test questions in the review.
And number what?
In the review.
Well, they're
In the review? Don't worry. It's not gonna be a hard one,
Okay, good.
okay? On to multiplying by 3 digits. Okay? Let's do, I'm gonna give you a big problem.
No.
Now, what's the first thing that I see here, Ryan?
The first thing is you see the 4 times 1, but wait, since it's 1, you can just put the number down, the top number down.
Copy,
The whole,
paste, okay? Since it's a 1, we got the identity property. And this is using your properties, okay? So that it works for you. 1 times, you got 4, 8, 7, 4. Okay? And I purposely put that 1 in there, this digit, so that you can see, hey, I need to use this property. Okay? What's the next thing I do? Ryan?
you multiply the 4 times 4, or no, put the placeholder.
Placeholder. That's why I'm asking the question.
That's not
If you've noticed in all the times that I've been up here doing this, the first placeholder, I put a line under it, just so you can so it represents a placeholder. Okay? Now, what were you gonna tell me, Ryan?
4 times 4 equals 16, and then 8 times 4 equals 32. Well, carry the 1, and then 8 times 4 is 32, and put the 2, and then add the 1, which is 33.
Cross that out because I don't need it anymore. And I'm carrying a 3 up.
Then you do 7 times 4 is 28 plus 3 equals 31. Then put the 1 down. And then you do 4 times 4 equals 16 plus 3 equals 19.
Now, if you notice, I'm gonna show you why, but there's a reason that I crossed out what I already added in, okay? What's the next thing I do, Graham?
You add 2 placeholders.
2 placeholders. Because this is actually the hundreds that I'm multiplying. Now I'm gonna go ahead and multiply. 3 times 4 is
12.
12, carrying the 1 up. 3 times 8,
24.
24, plus 1.
25.
Now, if you notice, I had a 3 there before, and this time I'm having a 2 up there. So this would be a place where you gotta watch out. That's why I crossed these out as I did them, okay, as I already used them. I'm not gonna use any other numbers, so that's why I'm not crossing these out. But the 1 and the 1 are the same, but here it's a 3 and a 2. So now, 3 times 7,
21 plus 2 is 23. 12 plus 2, which is 14.
now, this is the last part, where you just have to add. Okay? Yes,
Yeah, but on the estimating, if it's a 1 digit, which is with cent behind it, do you round? So say it's $8.50. Would you round that up to $9?
So I'm about to estimate.
oh, you're back on the estimating? If you had $8.50,
I don't remember doing decimals.
yes, that would be $9,
Okay.
Okay.
So,
okay? And there, you gotta make sense of it too. This is actually 9 what? Dollars, which is 9
9.
ones. No, not 900s. That's 9 ones.
Oh,
Because
because
this
it's
is
decimal.
tenths and hundredths, okay?
whoa.
So if you are doing something where it is times 3, we'll say, if you multiply this, you're actually getting $27, not 2,700, because of the decimal point. Okay, you're actually multiplying 9 times 3, 9 ones times 3 ones, which is 27.
By the 9,000, I meant like cents.
Well, that's where I gotta see it, okay? In other words, like that.
Okay.
Or you can just have it as $27. Okay? Now,
Are we doing?
back to this problem. Any questions on it?
Can you have this second?
Yeah. And I'm gonna start with the zeros and the multiplier. Let's do,
Mr. May.
There's a question.
There's
There's a question.
Guessing test yet?
No.
Oh, we skipped that.
We skipped the multiply by 2 digits too.
question, you had, no, you had a question?
I thought that we were doing decimals in this chapter.
We're not, but every so often they throw in a money one,
Yeah.
okay? And that's not, it is decimals, but they're rounding it to the nearest whole dollar. So you just gotta make sure that you remember that, okay? Now, zeros in the multiplier. Multiplier is the bottom number. Multiplicand, multiplier, your answer is the
Product.
product. What are these?
Partial products.
Partials. Okay, all 3 of them. And down here is your product. Okay? Partial products. You have parts of it. Here, there are 3 parts that are going to make the whole product. The whole answer. Okay? These are just parts of it. You're gonna have some questions on the test where it's gonna say, it's gonna give you a problem like this, and it's gonna ask you for the partial products. What does that mean that it's wanting?
of the product.
It's gonna
The
want
numbers
this
that you
number,
add up.
this number, and this number.
The numbers that you add up to get the
Yes.
product.
That's what it's asking for, okay? You understand that, Harper? Okay. Andrew, you got that? We good, assistant?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you got this finished yet up here?
I'm writing the words down.
Can you write them and I can erase this? Do you know what they are? You should, right? Okay. Now, this is the one with zeros in the multiplier, the bottom number. If I were to multiply this out, I'm gonna multiply it straight out. I'm gonna get 8, 3. All I need to do is copy that, right? Then I put my placeholder.
2 placeholders.
1, 2, 3. Then I do 2 placeholders. I do 8, 32, 12, 15. And add,
No
we
way.
got 2, 8, 11, 3, 15. Now, in there is a row in the middle. This is the long way. Okay? Which is fine. You can do it that way. Okay? And I'm not saying that you don't have to. Okay? If you feel comfortable multiplying everything, do what you feel comfortable doing. Okay? The short way is taking the 401, because this area here, it's like a dead zone. There's nothing there, okay? It's all zeros. So all that you're doing is you're taking this number, this partial product, adding them together, and then you add 0 to that. Because this is nothing but zeros, right, Brian? You understand that? Okay. Looking at your mask shows nothing with your mouth, but your eyes are like, huh? So basically, if I break this apart, I have 1 times 382, okay? And I have 400 times 382. These are my 2 placeholders, and I've already done it, so I know it's 1531, 1528. Okay? And all you have to do is add these 2 together. And you're gonna get your 2, 8, 1, 3, 1, 5. Also, if you were to do this out the other way, the short way, which is what I was trying to show you over here, you're gonna have 382, and then you're gonna have 2 placeholders, because you're skipping this row here, and you're gonna have your 8, 2, 5, 1, and add those. Okay? You're taking this, cutting this row out, and this is it. This is the short way. Okay? So you still end up with 2, 8, 1, 3, 5, 1. Okay? Now, if you can do these 2, basically you're doing a 3-digit. If you can do the 3-digit,
You can do it.
you can do this, because all you're doing is, if you do it the long way, you've got it. This is the 3-digit, even though it's the long way, you can do it. The 2-digit, you already did it because you did 3. Okay? With 2 digits, you need one that's gonna have 1 placeholder. We're not playing. Zeros in the multiplicand, up at the top. Well, if you can do the 3-digit, if we put a 0 up here, it's the same thing. Okay? Estimate, make sure that you round it to the greatest place. Now, the other thing that was in the estimate was also clusters, where they had things that rounded to the same amount. You would have 54 and 48 plus 48 plus 47 plus 51. You'd have 4 of them that you're adding, but they're all the same thing. They all round to 50. Look for that. Things that you need to look for, okay, is looking at the signs. Okay, and this is important, okay, because you can pick up a lot of things that are going on. If you have 3 numbers and you have a plus sign in there, okay, it's going to be a distributive property. If you have 8 numbers and there's plus signs in between, you're looking at a cluster, okay? If you see 2 multiplication signs with 3 numbers, you're looking at a distributive property, or not distributive, associative. You want to do the first 2, or you want to do the second 2, okay? But all of these, they're not that hard once you think about it. The last couple of lessons that you did, this lesson here, 3-7, if you could do that and not miss the first one, Kane.
I didn't miss the first one.
Oh, that's right, I did it. So you missed the second one.
No, I didn't miss the second one.
Oh,
I missed
that
the
one you missed the
third
last-
one. I missed the third one.
Third? Okay.
And then on the next page, I missed the 7th one.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but if you go back and make sure that you get these all right, okay, then you can get most all of this, okay? It's not that hard, but I'm not saying it's super easy. Please, read the directions. It's very important. Tomorrow, you're gonna have plenty of time, so there's no rush to get it done. First one done does not get 100. Okay? And it's not that you're racing to turn it into me because you're done and oh, I want to get that 100. No. It's the one that gets them all right. Okay? So take your time on it. You'll have plenty of time tomorrow. Okay? But make sure that you get them done. Now, today, I know you're sitting there going, Mr. Mink, we got 62 problems. But these 62 problems, a lot of them are not that hard. But make sure that you're going through them. If you have questions, I'll be walking around checking on you. Ask the questions. Don't sit and say, oh, I can't ask him a question on that. It sounds so stupid. No, if you have a question about it, there is no stupid questions. Okay? So take your time with it. Any questions on the test? All right.